What's up YouTube, it's Zapdos TCG here and welcome to another TCG deck profile video on my channel. Today we're going to be checking out Gengar Omastar. Okay, this deck is very fun because it has of course item lock going around, and of course item lock as we know in the trading card game is very powerful since there's a lot of decks relying on item cards. By popular demand we're checking out Gengar Omastar post rotation. If you're interested in more deck profiles post rotation, definitely check out the playlist in the description below. I did already the best decks in the format after rotation. Definitely good for Worlds. Think about Pikaram, your Reshizard, etc. But now it's time to check out less popular deck. It is Gengar Mimikyu, but it's still very powerful after rotation because, as a little side note, how do we gust? Exactly, we use an item card called, of course, Custom Catcher, and that means it's blocked. So things like Reset Stamp as a comeback card, it's an item card, it's blocked. So that's why Gengar is very good. Also with Zoroark GX leaving the format, the weakness to darkness is a little bit better. Although Dark Box is also a thing, that's only one deck. Zoroark used to be everywhere, but now it's time to check out this particular deck. Okay, we run 4 copies of Gengar Mimikyu. You have the alternate artwork, you have the regular one, the full art. There's a lot of Gengars to go around. This is an amazing card from Team Up, and we are gonna use this card for Poltergeist, dishing out 50 damage for every trainer card we find in the opponent's hand. And that does state trainer card, that means item cards, stadium cards, supporters, etc. So that is gonna be fantastic to use this attack because 50 damage is a lot. Think about other things we can just boost the damage up. We have of course Surprise Box, more about that later, but the thing we're gonna do here is make sure that the opponent has a lot of cards that they cannot play because Omastar blocks item cards, and then we one shot with Poltergeist for only 2 psychic energies. We also have Horror House GX. If we use that GX move, the opponent can't play any cards from their hand during their next turn. And if we have an additional psychic energy, both players can draw cards until they have 7 in the hand. Why is this great? They cannot play cards and they draw cards. That means if they have a lot of trainer cards in their hand, next turn we destroy with Poltergeist. So that's why Gengar and Mimikyu Tag Team GX is so amazing. So that is going to be our main attacker, 4 copies. So we are not going to have a bazillion amount of mulligans. We have of course, that is our only starter since the Omastar here evolves from an unidentified fossil. And Omastar is an amazing Pokemon with Fossil Bind, as you see here. If we have fewer bench Pokemon, or actually fewer Pokemon in play than our opponent, they cannot play any item cards. That is fantastic. So no custom catchers, no things like Mysterious Treasure, Cherish Balls, etc. It's going to be fantastic. So 4 copies of that, very straightforward list. So we're definitely going to draw into those Omastars naturally. And with things like Green's Exploration, we can definitely search out our unidentified fossils or rare candies. So we're gonna run 4 copies of Green's Exploration. This is gonna be a Green's Exploration build with Pokegear, etc. So we hopefully want to get this as our first turn supporter, so we can search for our unidentified fossil, smack it down immediately. And the good thing is that the opponent is not gusting a lot. That means if they have their custom catchers in their opening hand, that's good. But other than that, they will leave our fossils alone most of the time because in the past we used to have Guzma, which was very popular. A lot of decks run 4 copies of that, but now we're a little bit more safe. So getting your unidentified fossils out, they're a little bit more safe on the bench. So with that, we're also going to be running 4 copies of the Bills Analysis. The good thing is, the Bills Analysis, we can still use that after Omastar is in play. If Omastar is in play, we can no longer rely on Green's Exploration. The reason we're running 4 copies of Green's Exploration is for those early turns that we can get Unidentified Fossil, and the turn after that we can get our Rare Candy, Communication, Cherish Ball, or of course a combo, so we can get Omastar out as early as possible. So Bills Analysis, look at the top 7 cards from our deck. We may reveal 2 trainer cards we find there and put them in the hand, so pretty much like a Jirachi Stellar Rage on steroids. This is a supporter. Once during our turn we can do that, and then we shuffle all the cards back. So we can dig for, of course, those puzzle pieces, find surprise boxes to put a trainer card from the, or actually a card from the opponent's discard pile in their hand. We can also find our rare candies through that method if we don't have Green's Exploration. So 4-4, very consistent list. There's all 4s off, so we definitely don't want to bump into inconsistencies here. So we also have 1 copy of Judge. Judge could be helpful in those turns where the opponent has a lot of cards in their hand, or actually the quite opposite. Let's say they have 0 cards in the hand because they don't want to get destroyed by Poltergeist. Well, if we Judge, they actually get 4 cards, and with a couple of things like Surprise Box, the opponent will have of course enough trainers in the hand for us to one-shot, but also helps with consistency. If we don't have either of those supporters, we can have a little bit of a shuffle support. Next up, for Pokegear. Pokegear is fantastic. Let's just look at the top 7 cards, and we can find a supporter we find there. So we can just grab it, bam, get it immediately. This helps us search for Greed's Exploration or Bill's Analysis. Very great. So we have it at the early phases of the game. Next up, 4 copies of Unidentified Fossils. As mentioned, a lot of 4-offs in this deck. So consistency is key always in the TCG. So that way we can, yeah, you cannot start with it. That's unfortunate. We definitely have to search them out in means with Greed's Exploration or Bill's Analysis. Because we will always start with the Gengar and Mimikyu. Then 4 copies of the Custom Catcher. It's amazing to target like tag teams if they have a huge hand size, so we can one-shot with Poltergeist, but also helps out to just destroy certain targets that we are weak to. So that's fantastic. We can also leave something in the active position because Switch is blocked. Smacking things down like a skateboard is also blocked. Every single item card is blocked. That's fantastic. 3 copies of the Rare Candy. I would love to add a 4th one, but I cut one from for another card I'm gonna mention later down in this video. We definitely need 3 Rare Candies. The reason we're running 4 Omastar and 3 Rare Candies, we want to draw manually into the Omastars, and with Greed's Exploration we can easily grab our Unidentified Fossil or Rare Candy. That's the main reason behind that. Then 3 copies of the Energy Spinner. This is amazing if we go second. If we go second, we can search our deck for 3 basic energies and grab them into the hand. That means that we tin out the deck and already have energies plenty enough for Poltergeist, and maybe set up an additional Gengar Mimikyu if one is almost knocked out. But I do recommend only getting out 1 Gengar Mimikyu so the opponent is always item locked, and that is the main strength of this deck. So yeah, 3 copies of that. If we go first, we get 1 energy. So if you get, it's actually an energy card, but it's searchable with, of course, Green's Exploration. That's fantastic. Next, moving forward, we're gonna be running another 4-off. Yeah, this deck is all of 4-offs. 4 copies of Surprise Box. That's the reason why Gengar Mimikyu is just so good. The opponent might just say, oh, I'm just gonna play out all of my cards in the hand. I am not item locked, and when I'm item locked, I don't even have any trainers in the hand. That's where Surprise Box comes in hand. You can put a card from the opponent's discard pile into the hand. Typically, if the item lock is set up, we definitely get, of course, an item card into their hand so they cannot play it. Other great cards they can put back is things like Cynthia, because if they don't have a lot of trainer cards, maybe they will play Cynthia and they're gonna be left with a lot of item cards after that Cynthia. And I do love the combination of Surprise Box with Reset Stamp. Reset Stamp early game, this is one of the few decks that uses Reset Stamp early on. So if the opponent still has 6 prize cards left, use Reset Stamp, use a couple of Surprise Box, and Poltergeist will be destroying almost anything in the format. That's how powerful it is. Alright. Next up, we're going to be running 2 copies of the Cherish Ball. We no longer have, of course, Ultra Ball. This is a proxy, as you can see. It is, yeah, supported by limited TCG. And Cherish Ball comes out, of course, on the 2nd of August with the booster boxes of Unifying Minds. Maybe you get yourself some booster packs. Who knows? Yeah, Cherish Ball, very fantastic card. Get yourself a GX, straightforward. That way, we typically will get a Gengar. We will start with a Gengar, but if we get a Gengar, we can immediately use that Cherish Ball to set up another one, or maybe use in the combination with Communication. You might swap these around. You might run 2 Communication and 1 Cherish Ball, but with a single Communication, yeah, that's nothing you can work with. You typically draw manually into your Omastars, and with the combination Cherish Ball Communication, you can definitely find your Omastar. So that's that. 2 copies of Cherish Ball and 1 copy of Communication. I would love to add a second Communication, but I added an extra healing card, which we're going to talk about later. First, these healing cards, Mixed Herbs. We are going to run this typically. It also was running in Reshizard, so Reshizard is also playing this. The good news is that Alolan Raichu will sometimes paralyze us. We have an answer, Special Condition, screw that. Things like Bursting Burn of Blacephalon GX, screw that. We definitely can get rid of Special Conditions, but if we play 2 of them at the same time, we heal Special Conditions and we also heal 90 damage. So if we play 2, 90 damage. If we play another 2, that's 180 damage, which we can heal, which is a lot. Definitely against 1 prizers. Let's say Giratina uses 130 damage. Well, tough luck, we heal off 90 damage, when that way we are left with 200 damage, and they will have to 3-shot, which is awesome. We also run 1 copy of the Great Potion, also a new card with Unified Minds, heal 50 damage from 1 of your GXs. So this is our healing mechanic, but there's also 1 extra card I want to talk about here, and that is Choice Helmet. Choice Helmet helps out with the math. Why is that? Sometimes Reshizar will be playing one copy of Shrine of Punishment, and maybe they will use Outrage. Well, with Choice Helmet, screw that, no Outrage for you. They will dish out 230 damage, and that is not enough to one-shot us, so that is gonna be fantastic, and that way we can rely on Choice Helmet to reduce the damage. Against a lot of matchups, this helps out and making it instead of a one-shot, a two-shot, or instead of a two-shot, a three-shot. Well, if we just use Poltergeist, we definitely have a good matchup against tag teams if a lot of decks run a lot of these item cards. If we think about a lot of decks, Malamar, full bench, Blacephalon, full bench. We can just go on and on, but all these decks with full benches will definitely get punished with Poltergeist. Because they will get item blocked, and that's why they have a lot of items in the hand. Next up, Reset Stamp, 2 copies. This is a fantastic comeback card. This is also one of the decks that suffers a little bit from Reset Stamp itself. If they use Reset Stamp against you, sometimes you break, but sometimes you don't. Because, yeah, with Custom Catcher, you can also get out of those nasty situations, and Pokegear as well. So, yeah, it's not that bad as it seems, but if we use Reset Stamp early game, as mentioned, the opponent will draw into a lot of item cards, and if they cannot play them, Poltergeist is OP. We have 2 of them. You can use one in the first phase of the game and one in the late game. Maybe you can just use this. We have Green's Exploration to search it out. Maybe you have it as a comeback card. Maybe use it in the early phase of the game to get your one-hit KO. Then 2 copies of Power Plant. Power Plant is very great after rotation with things like the Dene roaming all over the field. The Dene with the DD change is the ability. It can no longer get used, so the opponent will brick sometimes if we use something like a Judge in combination with Power Plant. Cherish Ball for the Dene, well, tough luck, you cannot play it down. Even if you play it down, you can play it down, but the ability won't activate. Things like Zoroark with the Thunderclap Zone, what was it? Yeah, the free retreat shenanigans, it doesn't work anymore. All the abilities from GXs are blocked. So that's fantastic, they no longer work. And then for the energies, we're gonna be running 7 energies in total. So I do think these are plenty enough to get you through the game. So we're just gonna put them, yeah, like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 psychic energies. There we have them. I think this is plenty enough to get you through the game. Let's just lower this down. So we have, of course, everything on the playmat like this. So 7 will last you through the game. We have Energy Spinner early game to search out the energies, and typically we only need 2 Gengar Mimikyu, but sometimes the opponent will be locked out of Custom Catcher. We could rely on things like manually retreat and start attacking with another one. But sometimes they also can play around Omastar, so that's why it's a little downside of this kind of deck. But if it works very beautifully. So definitely try it out for yourself. Let me know what you would change about the list. This is a highly suggested video, so if you have more suggestions for me, definitely put them in the comment section below. Definitely destroy the like button if you enjoy the content, because I'm making content almost every day. And yeah, you guys seem to enjoy it, so let me know by destroying the like button. And also subscribe if you haven't already, because more Pokemon TCG content is coming, and Worlds is right around the corner, and I'm just very curious to see which decks we're gonna see. And yeah, that's it for this video. Have a fresh day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.